What's good, everybody? It's Jonah. Come back at you another video. So with this video, I wanted to talk about the meaning and the purpose of life. Now, what inspired this video was actually a quote from the famous painter Pablo Picasso. So the quote is as follows. He goes, "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away." Now I'll repeat it one more time. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. So when he says the meaning of life is to find your gift, the reason why you were put here on earth, on this planet, is to experience outrageous joy. That is it. That is what you want to strive for every moment of every day. Because when you are happy, you feel good. You feel your best. So that is a sign. You've known this innately, right? That is a sign that is what you should always be striving for, to feel good. Because we're here for one lifetime, for one existence. We're here to make the most of it, and we're here to live life beyond our wildest dreams and our wildest, imagination, right? So that is, the reason why we were put here on earth. Now, the meaning of life, he says the meaning of life is to find your gift. Now, what this means, your gift, of course, when you uncover your gift, that can tremendously contribute to your happiness, because your gift, your talent, it is something that you can do exceptionally well relative to other people, right? So it's something that comes easy and effortless to you that may not necessarily be the case for other people. Now, an example is, we've all probably have known someone who is naturally funny, right? The things that they say, or how they say it, right? They don't even try to be funny, and they know how to make people laugh. That is someone's gift, because there's a lot of people who are probably not the most humorous, or probably isn't the best at making other people laugh, right? So for someone, if that comes easy and effortless to them, then that is the gift that they were given. Now, there's some other people who are naturally gifted in other things. Say someone is naturally gifted at jumping high, right? That they can jump really high, and that is not necessarily the case for other people, because there's other people who may not be able to jump very high, right? In that case, that would be your gift, that would be your talent, right? There's a plethora of things that, come easy and effortless to you that may not be the case for other people. And gifts, a lot of times, it might be obvious, and other cases, you might have to uncover that gift, right? In some cases, it might mean that you might have to explore and venture out and live life and go through different experiences and try new things for you to find things that you're passionate about, things that you're good at, that will ultimately serve as your talent or your gift, right? You might not start off as being the very best at that thing when you first start off, right? Because everyone starts off as a beginner, everyone starts from a clean slate. But then eventually it can become clear on what that gift is. And when you find that gift, that can contribute significantly towards your happiness, because you are doing something that you enjoy. You are doing something that you know that you're good at, and that can also benefit other people. And the second part of the sentence, which it's equally as important, it says, the second part of the quote says, "The purpose of life is to give it away." Now, what does this mean? When he says give it away, he is effectively saying that the purpose of life is to share that gift with the world. What you need to understand about the world is always for greater expansion. The world is meant to have diversity. The world is meant to have variety, because all of it contributes to a whole and complete experience, right? This is why there are so many different walks of life for people, so many different cultures. This is why there isn't just, one dish or one cuisine that exists. There's an infinite number of recipes and dishes and cuisines that exist, because of the diversity in the universe. That's why there isn't just one genre of music, and not just one artist, and not just one song that we listen to, right? There's a plethora of music genres. Lord knows, thousands, millions of musicians out there, and billions of songs that have been created, because everyone has different preferences. Same idea with clothing. There's not just one clothing brand that sells one clothing item, right? There's a plethora of clothing brands that sell numerous items, right? That you can get almost any piece of clothing from any brand out there, right? This is why there's not just one brand of water at the supermarket, right? There's plenty of brands of different water brands because people have different taste buds and different preferences, right? All of this diversity, all of this expansion, it's all for the universe. This is how we operate as creators, because creation is from the inside out. So if each and every one of us are unique and each and every one of us are different, right, then we are going to have different ideas, different perspectives, different things that we can contribute to the entire melting pot of the world, right? If I use New York City, my hometown, as an example, right? If we look at Manhattan in particular, right? People coin it as the concrete jungle, right? Because there's so many buildings, so many skyscrapers, right? And you are effectively, it feels like a concrete jungle, right? You go to Manhattan and you look at the buildings and it'll feel as though no two buildings are the same, that no two buildings are identical. And that is what contributes to Manhattan looking the way it does, right? It would look a lot worse and more boring if all the buildings in Manhattan were identical, right? It would, like, how would you know which direction you're going besides looking at the street numbers, right? You wouldn't know where you're going because everything looks the same. And what good would that do to your experience, right? It won't feel like a breath of fresh air because everything is the same, right? But the reason why it looks the way it does is because there's different architectures, there's different architects and different engineers who build the buildings, and there's always different developers, which allows each of the buildings to look different, and that ultimately contributes to our experience of Manhattan as a whole, right? It becomes a melting pot. The same idea here, where we have pretty much all walks of life and all the different cultures living here in New York City. It's like you can go and experience, you don't even have to fly out to those countries because there's likely going to be a restaurant in Manhattan serving that restaurant's cuisine, right? You can get African food, you can get Russian food, you can get, Greek food, you can get Indian food, South American food, right? Like you can get food anywhere here because of the expansion, because of the diversity and the variety. So when Pablo Picasso says the purpose of life is to give it away, what he's saying is the purpose of life is for you to share that gift with the rest of the world, because that will ultimately contribute to the melting pot. It will contribute to the overall experience of life. Think about it. If you, and given that Pablo Picasso was a painter, right? If you were a painter and you enjoy painting, that's your passion, you think about painting all the time, you want to paint all the time, right? When you paint something, right? Let's say you paint a portrait. That portrait can contribute to society and the world, because that portrait, if done very well, can end up being in a museum where tourists can go and see and take photos and experience the photo, or that portrait can be purchased by other people who are art enthusiasts, and then they can hang that portrait in their home. So then you've created art, which means you created something, right? And that creation is now in the home of someone else that they can now appreciate. That's you giving it away. That's you sharing it with the world, right? Just imagine how different this world would be without art, right? Because art comes in many different shapes and forms. Art is not just painting, right? Art is music. Art is creativity, right? So without art, there wouldn't be any creativity, right? It's just, that is what happens when, or like if painters or musicians or chefs, if they just kept their recipes to themselves, right? Like, it would be a much worse place to live, because then people are not sharing their gifts. People are not sharing the talents, right? That's why there's so many different sports leagues that exist, because people have different preferences for different types of sports that they want to watch. But then imagine if these sports were never created, because the inventors of these sports didn't want to ever share their passion, right? Then we wouldn't have sports, it wouldn't exist, right? And for a lot of people, they can't imagine a world without sports existing, right? So like this quote right here gives you what you need, right? It's you striving to uncover the things that you're passionate about, the things that truly make you happy, the gifts, the talents that you have, the things that come easy and effortless to you. And then once you figure that out, then your goal becomes to give it away. It means to share with other people. It means to serve other people using that gift, right? Pablo Picasso has made a mark in the lives of people all around the world because they appreciated his art and the message that it delivered. That's why his art is timeless. That's why people hold him in high regard. That is him finding his gift and sharing that with the rest of the world and by giving it away. You need to do the same thing because as you're doing that, right, you are stepping into your true purpose as a creator, right? Because you're going to be creating. And then from then on, when you give it to other people, you give it away, you're effectively sharing that with the rest of the world because the world is a melting pot of creation, right? All of the brands that exist, right? If it doesn't even have to just be clothing brands. It's all of the brands of anything, of clothing, of electronics, of computers, of food, right? All these brands that exist, all of these brands were all ideas. They all started as ideas in the minds of the inventors that made the brands. These were their ideas, right? And they were able to grow the brand because they were able to share that idea, share their gift with the rest of the world. So that's why the world is the way it is today, because of everyone sharing, because of everyone serving one another, right? And that is how you begin to live a fulfilling life. When you find out what you're passionate about, you focus on creating that thing, you focus on being the best, and then you focus on serving other people, sharing that gift with the world. Everything else is going to be taken care of because your gift is going to be helping so many people. Your gift is going to be appreciated or used or, borrowed by other people. Your gift is going to inspire other people, right? Like you are going to contribute to the diversity and the variety that exists in the world because that is the basis of the universe. The universe is abundant, right? And you, as a creator, abundance is your birthright. You have a mind, you have access to an imagination and infinite creativity, right? So you're always going to be creating. So you want to be sharing your gift with other people and you want to be serving other people. So this quote right here from Pablo Picasso is powerful because it tells you what you need to know and it tells you effectively what you need to do, right? To find out the things that you're happy about, that you're passionate about, that you love, that you enjoy, your gift, your talent, the things that you're good at that comes easy and effortless to you. You want to share that with the rest of the world, right? This is why the world is such an amazing place, because of all the ideas and the inventions that came from other people that they've shared with one another to help serve other people, right? Chances are, well, not chances are, a lot of the things you own, almost all the things you own were ideas or inventions or creations from other people. So you directly benefited from the gifts of other people, the talents of other people, the hard work of other people. You directly benefited from it. Now he's telling you that you need to also do the same because you can also create things for other people. You can also create things that can help other people, that allow other people to benefit from it and from your existence. And that is what makes the world go round. Everyone being the best at something, focusing on that thing and delivering the best quality product, service, whatever to other people, sharing that gift with the world. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the meaning and purpose of life. So that rest of the video, enjoy the video, do leave a like and subscribe as we're on the road. Tell me subscribe, guys. So once again, it's Joel and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.